We got Patreon reader mail today. Pat Hill writing in a simple question, Dave. Basically, he's asking, will the Chicago Bears clean house after this season? There have been a report, or there was an article that Sam put in the Discord that apparently the McCaskey's not happy with how things are going down. After this game against the Titans, Bears 2-4 in their last 6 games. Do you believe that the Bears are cleaning house after this year?
I don't know how we do not clean house after this year. We've been asking for it for about 5 weeks now.
Yep. Last week we even discussed this a little bit, and we said maybe they get one more year. Yeah,
that's the problem. Matt Nagy should not be a coach in the head coaching position, in the play calling position in the NFL. This is a dual part problem. It was made extremely apparent yesterday, I should say, by our atrocious offensive line. Now, what happens is we went into this past offseason with some clear gaps. And obviously COVID made it more difficult because players opted out and, you had guys with different things and you didn't know really what to expect this season. But we didn't address our offensive line really, except for literally a dumpster dive in Fetty, someone who I think led the league in holding calls last year. And it's just, he wasn't a good player, but he was a filler. He wasn't someone we absolutely need to hit on. But we have had the worst offensive line in football this year, and then they got hurt, which means our backups have been in there, which means our already league worst offensive line was somehow even worse, which again, Nick Foles had about, I think, an average of 2.8 seconds per drop back to get rid of that ball before he was officially pressured as a quarterback.
Yeah.
And these are from normal rushes. These aren't from, blitzes. You have 2.8 seconds on a rush on the standard front four coming at you. That's fucking embarrassing.
Yeah.
So Ryan Pace didn't do his job, which means Matt Nagy should have been okay, let's look at what we got on the field and figure out how can I win with this group of talent. And he couldn't fucking figure out a way. And then he just contributes to that dumpster fire by just shoveling in gasoline by the fucking shovel, just dumping in more gas by horrible play calling. I don't understand how this man is getting paid to call plays. And then he has the fucking gall to go up there in a press conference. I don't see a problem with me calling the plays. No problems here. I'm going to keep doing it. I mentioned it to the team. Nobody had any problems. Clearly, we're doing just fine. We are wasting literally a top 3 defense for the 3rd year in a row now. And we're cool with that. We have an offense that is worse than the fucking Jets.
Yeah, that's not good when you're worse than the Jets in anything.
We are worse than the Jets, and they don't even have a team.
Yeah.
Adam Gase was what are we doing?
So
what are we doing? It's maddening. So yes, the GM needs to be fired. The head coach needs to be fired. Our offensive coordinator, who apparently doesn't exist, needs to be fired. Our talent scouts need to be fired because we've missed on so many early round draft picks over the past couple of years that it's just set us back so far. And then we haven't made right moves in free agency. We went ahead and got a fucking pass rusher when we needed to spend that money on offensive line help. It's just, and now we're stuck with that too. There's so many problems that have just snowballed over time. I'm at the point where Mitch Trubisky, I'm starting to feel bad for the guy. I'm shit.
I don't.
Did we have it wrong?
No, you didn't, Dave. I'm going to tell you why.
I don't think we did.
No,
I think we have an idiot who is calling plays and an even bigger idiot who couldn't put talent on the field.
You're right.
A-Rob is sitting there on Twitter chirping he's not getting a contract.
A-Rob's gone.
I don't want to be here.
I am telling you this. Bears Nation, look into my eyes. A-Rob is gone.
We know.
We don't acknowledge that now. He's gone.
Talked on Twitter. Yeah. He doesn't want to be here, and no one blames him. Every Bears fan's go be happy.
Yeah, you're right, though. It's Mitch is not the problem. That's what we've learned. Mitch is not the problem. But the thing I hate is I listened to Get Up today, and Rex Ryan, who I love how they have Rex Ryan on because he's a very smart defensive mind.
Yes.
But it was how you had some good years with the Jets, but then some god awful years later on. And he today said that Nick Foles on the Bears is the Blake Bortles situation all over again. And I was no, because Nick Foles is not a bad quarterback. I feel like Nick Foles is the quarterback that needs to be paired up. Like, the coach that has Nick Foles has to know how to use him. And the thing that I feel like with this Bears team is Matt Nagy. That is your main problem. I feel like Matt Nagy gets too much credit for having the team Andy Reid put together and that front office put together in Kansas City. Because, like, Matt Nagy, he's proving one thing. You can't do something with Patrick Mahomes, come over to Mitch or Nick Foles and do the same thing. You can't take a backfield that was littered with, like, Kareem Hunts and, like, Charmander West would come up and be like, who the fuck is this? And he'd do well. You can't do that with Tariq Cohen, Cordell Patterson, and David Montgomery. Although I do like Montgomery, he's young. He will be good. He's proven that he can't do the same things he did. Like, the Chiefs roster was just really good. It starts with that quarterback. I mean, also the other thing I think this proves, and this is the Nick Foles part, you know what Nick Foles is proving right now? Because of how bad he's been on every team but the Eagles, and this guy is kind of proving it in Indy right now. Frank Reich is a good fucking coach. Like, he was the offensive mind behind the Eagles when they won the Super Bowl with Nick Foles. Seems to be the only guy that has been able to unlock Nick Foles into any sense of winning because his record is atrocious everywhere else besides Philadelphia. And now Frank Reich, like, when we talk about the Colts losing, we never blame him. It's always, we're blaming Phillip Rivers. We're blaming players on the field. And, like, with the Bears,
us with a better offense.
Yes. Well, and how does that...
the same team.
They've got a better coach, I would say. They've got, the foundation is there. They've got a GM that knows how to draft. They have a coach that knows how to coach. Their problem is the same thing, like you said. I mean, they've built a defense that is good. They've, like Jonathan Taylor, we're going to have to wait and see. But, like, they have drafted good players.
I think the best or a top 3 offensive line in football.
Yeah.
And they're averaging 2 yards a carry with their number, 30-something overall pick, Jonathan Taylor.
Now, here's the thing, too. With the Colts, I think the run game, we have to have a caveat because Marlon Mack, if he was starting and not injured, that run game would look totally different. Like, he's the starter. Jonathan Taylor was never drafted to be the starter this year. Was never drafted to do that. Marlon Mack was their starter. So, like, that's why I feel like their run game is different. The Bears, though, you're right. Like, the one thing the Colts and the Bears have in common is they're trying to latch on to a veteran quarterback to put them into a playoff spot. The Bears are trying to get back to where they were when they lost to the Eagles in the playoffs. The Bears seem to can't get there. And, like, to go on the side of, like you said, where it's like, did we have the right guy in Mitch Trubisky? The thing I'm going to say until Mitch either starts and proves me wrong is the opponents that Mitch played earlier in the year, they were cupcake opponents. You should have beat them with no matter who your quarterback is. That's how bad those teams are. So, like, for me, it's like Mitch beat the teams he was supposed to. I mapped it out in the preseason. You'll beat the first 3. After that, what are you going to do? Or you'll beat the first 2 because I was higher on the Falcons than what they did. So you'll beat the first 2. What are you going to do after that? And, like, I feel like there is no way through this season that Nagy and Pace should survive because, as every Bears fan on Twitter says, you're wasting your defense with every time you give them an extra chance.
They literally took down the YouTube video of the post-game press conference and reposted it because in the first 15 minutes, there were 300 downvotes and just a swell of negative comments. Mm-hmm. So just ripped it off YouTube, waited 10 minutes, and reposted it. And I don't know if it's been done again or not since, but it's embarrassing. As a Bears fan, we're incredibly frustrated and we're incredibly passionate. That's the two things that we are used to. But yeah, no, I mean, it's just I continue to look at the play calling as the number one problem.
Mm-hmm.
Matt Nagy, I think that when you mention, we don't have the same weapons. Right. So Matt Nagy can't adapt. Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, Kareem Hunt is Kareem Hunt and he's special, but you look at what we had in Tariq Cohen, he was special too. Yeah. Don't forget, he had an incredible season, an absolutely incredible season a couple of years ago. Mm-hmm. And what did we do with him? We tried to run him north-south up the fucking gut.
Yeah.
Because Matt Nagy's a goddamn genius. Like, you look at what he's done with the talent we have and you go, oh, he doesn't understand. He literally doesn't understand what we have on paper.
Yeah.
And then you look at the play calling and you go, he doesn't understand the situation. 3rd and 15, we're going to run a 5-yard fucking draw. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? It is so frustrating to watch, and it is so annoying to know that at the end of the day, like, putting up 17 points in the 4th quarter, just wasted our fucking time.
Yeah,
I would rather get blown out and have our coach fired earlier. Like, that's the way I feel. I'm at that point of spitefulness where I'm like, that's great, Nick Foles. I'm glad you can run the hurry-up offense. We've now seen that 4 weeks in a row.
So
why aren't we doing anything different for the first 3 fucking quarters of the game?
Are you saying that should the Bears do what the Falcons did? Should they? Yeah. And here's an interesting thing that the Falcons don't have, or I mean, I guess the Texans have it because technically he coached the Browns, but like the Bears have a head coach on that staff. They could easily say, Nagy, you're done, get out of here. Chuck Pagano, you're the interim. Chuck Pagano, head coach of the Colts. Like, he knows what he's fucking doing. The only reason why he had to leave the Colts was because he had to fight cancer. Like, he didn't leave on a bad reason. He literally got cancer and had to fight it. That's why he walked away from the Colts to where it's like, Ryan, I feel like that's the only thing Ryan Pace can do to try to save his job is throw Matt Nagy under the bus. That's what gone. You have to. Like Ryan Pace, you think that do you think that he can maybe get an extra year if he fires Nagy now and Pagano has a winning record with this team?
Nope. Don't think it's possible. I think Pace is gone. You have to look at the record. You have to look at the quality of moves he's made since he's become a GM with the Bears. And if you see the draft caliber, rounds 1 and 2, we failed. We have Roquan Smith, and we have Jalen Johnson.
Yep,
that's it. We have 2 hits, and that's it. The other, how many years have you been here? 5?
Ryan Pace. Here, let me look it up.
It's 5. To me, it feels like a 5er.
I think you might be right, but I'll double check it. Ryan Pace. I had Nagy and Foles picked up. I did not have Pace. He was 2015. You're right, 5 years. He was with the Saints from basically, he was their director of personal scouting in 07 to 12. 13-14 was their player personnel guy. And then the GM of the Bears from 2015 to now.
Yeah, so I mean, look, Cole Kmet right now looks like a slower, worse, like literally runs in molasses version of Jimmy Graham.
And that's even worse though, because Ryan Pace, if you look at the 2 things coming in, it's like, oh, he was a part of the scouting with the Saints and the player personnel. He's the guy that's going to hit on draft picks. And you haven't.
We hit on later ones. Again, no, we hit on later
picks, but like the early ones are the ones you have to hit on.
I agree. Jalen Johnson in the 2nd round was a steal because of his injury.
Yeah.
He's a fucking professional. I love that man.
Yeah.
Darnell Mooney, great pickup. Instant impact player, big play player, would probably be in I think he's top 5 for like rookie of the year kind of stuff for the offensive side. If we had a quarterback, like he has the talent to do that. Ridley was a 4th rounder. He's passable as a 5th wide receiver. You know, Montgomery is a 3rd round running back. He's about average. I don't think anybody's writing home about him. Roquan hit. Daniels, I don't know about a hit. Anthony Miller, as a 3rd wide receiver.
Anthony Miller though is like one where it's like he looks okay now, but like how much better is he going to get? Like that you don't know.
He's had hit and miss times. And then you go Trubisky, Shaheen, back-to-back misses. Like, that's what sucks. We traded up to get Mitch Trubisky, and that was the draft that set it all fucking off. Yeah. Floyd was a miss. Cody Whitehair was a hit, but still at what level? Like, Kevin White, huge miss. You know?
Yeah.
There's too many early misses. But late rounds, Amos, Langford, Deion Bush, Kwiatkowski, Eddie Jackson, Tariq Cohen, Jordan Howard.
Yeah.
Like we fucking kill the late rounds. That is absolutely like his superpower. He shouldn't be allowed to make a pick in the first 3 rounds.
Like
that's how I feel. I think that like we have to just understand that he can't hit the high profile must hit guys who are franchise changers and have that 5 years of contract control in round 1. Like you have to figure that shit out as a GM. Those are the most valuable positions and we have bailed over and over with them. So I don't think they're saving his job. Yeah. I think that the Trubisky trade plus missing first-round picks year over year have set him back. I will give him the credit he deserves for making the go-for-it move to get the best defensive lineman in football at the time. I just keep looking at this shit, and it's just like, oh.
And the thing that, not bringing up the past to bring up the past, but like even Eric says, Trubisky and Kevin White were bad picks. And the thing, I tried to look it up for us. In 2017, we were not doing the graphics yet for our mock draft, so like I would have to listen to see.
I remember Khalil Mack was my number 1 overall pick in his draft year. I remember that.
Yeah. So like
on record, that was on a video.
The 2017 Nation mock draft for ESPN, the Bears took Jamal Adams, which would have been a nice pick. But if you look at quarterbacks, let's see. Oh, they hit Christian McCaffrey with the Panthers. That's cool. Let's see. Mitch Trubisky went to the Browns at 12. So Mitch was the first quarterback off the board. I would have disagreed there. I like Deshaun Watson the best. They didn't have Deshaun Watson. Well, Dalvin Cook would have been a buck. Damn, that would have been weird. Let's see. Do they even have Dalvin in the first round? They had Mahomes of the Chiefs.
Hey, we knew that. That was heavily speculated, though.
And then they had Deshaun Watson 32nd to the Saints. That seemed low because I was always higher on Deshaun Watson. Like I thought that's the pick.
I mean, he had big game fucking, like you had years of production, you had big games, you had seen everything.
He even went head to head with Mitch and beat him. Like
and he went head to head with fucking Bama.
Yeah, and beat them. To where it's like the Bears to me, I feel like the ownership, the McCaskies have basically two choices to make. One of them right, one of them wrong.
Fire everyone is the right answer.
They either fire everyone, which is the right answer, or they do nothing. Like that's the thing, because there is a part of me that wonders if Ryan Pace fires Nagy mid-season, could he save his job for at least one more year to then try to save his Bears life?
And the McCaskies, I could see if he's under contract.
Yeah, like that's the thing of like. I
do wonder.
Go ahead.
The ripple effect of this season is Bieniemy's stock lowered by Matt Nagy's failure, or is he still the go-to guy?
I'm gonna say no because he won us. Like the reason why I'm gonna say no is Matt Nagy didn't win a Super Bowl with the Chiefs. Bieniemy did.
Yeah, they were like this close. I mean,
I know, but like Bieniemy did. Like Frank Reich, look at it. Like he won a Super Bowl being the OC of the Eagles, and like. You look at, and I know Reed everyone's different. What?
Was Andy Reid play calling that, though?
No, that was the Doug Peterson, because Doug Peterson was the head coach. Frank Reich was the offensive coordinator. For Nagy? I think Nagy was doing the play calling.
You just said Nagy didn't win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, Bieniemy, I think Bieniemy's the main play caller. I think Andy Reid handed that off like right before Nagy. And it's been both of them. Because, Bieniemy's the worst kept secret in fucking the NFL. Where every single time there's a coaching opening, people go, oh, he should get the job. Because he should. Because he's fucking, smart offensively. Now, the only question I have, and it's the same thing I had with Frank Reich,
smart offensively, too.
Can you do the other jobs that a head coach needs? Because it's not just calling plays and everything. There's everything, you're controlling the team. The question I have with the Bears, though, Dave, is if you clean house this year, and by clean house, I mean Ryan Pace and Nagy are gone, can the Bears clean house and still save the life of this defense? Or would they have to truly clean house and get rid of defensive pieces because then you're just...
Mack is gone. I think we can hold on to the core of our defense.
Khalil Mack's the big one. Do you have to trade Khalil Mack if you're getting rid of Pace and Nagy?
I don't think so. I also don't know what his return would be at this point. I think we still know he's very good, but his production numbers have slumped because of this team and the situations they put him in.
I mean, you sell him to it. You might not get.
But JJ Watt is also potentially on the market this offseason, so that's the concern. Is the compare JJ Watt just hit 100 sacks.
Yeah,
Khalil Mack's incredible and perhaps better than JJ at this point in his career, but I don't know. JJ Watt name value versus Khalil Mack, like double market, I don't know how high we can get.
Aaron Rodgers for Khalil straight up, right?
I don't think they would do that deal.
Aaron Rodgers for Khalil. They got Jordan Love, man. He's the future.
He just went on the COVID watch list, actually, I think.
Yeah. I mean,
but no, I think that we can survive our defense. It's just play it smart. Draft about 3 offensive linemen.
Yeah.
Trade for Sam Darnold and go from there.
Why not pick up Ryan Fitzpatrick a year if you don't want to get a young quarterback?
No.
I'm saying like no.
Go get Sam Darnold.
So
go get Sam Darnold.
If you can't, but I'm saying if you can't get a Darnold,
why couldn't we get a Sam Darnold?
What if you want to give up draft picks for Sam? Like, do you think Sam Darnold is going to be better than what he sees now, or are you just all putting that on the Jets being the Jets?
It's the Jets being the Jets. Sam Darnold has talent.
Okay.
We've seen enough games of him on the Jets pulling off good throws. He's not as bad as he looks. They just literally are talent starved out there. And Adam Gase looks like the biggest stooge in the world, and he's been their fucking coach, coordinator, and overlord for a couple years now. So, like, I don't put too much blame on Sam for that. And with Trevor Lawrence seemingly locked into that Jets team, he's going to be on the market.
The last question I want to ask you, and with me, I don't know if I would do this because how I feel about this prospect now is I don't know if I want to put him in the first round even yet because I feel like I need to dive way more into BYU tape. But at 16, if Zach Wilson is there, he's a quarterback that is rising on a lot of boards. Do you go ahead and take Zach Wilson if you like him? Like, could the Bears do that and bypass wide receiver and tackle even?
Well, we don't need a wide receiver right now.
I mean,
we need an offensive line. Doesn't matter who you have playing wide receiver, as proven by Alshon Robinson. If you don't have an offensive line, you don't have enough time to throw the ball.
Allen Robinson.
Alshon's
on the Eagles.
A-Rob. I'm so angry. And we talked
Alshon.
Alshon. Another player who just could not get his shit together. He's just been hurt in Sulker. Anyway.
Yet again, another team in the Eagles that it's like, you need a wide receiver in this draft.
They paid him, unfortunately.
Like, both their top two wide receivers.
Injury.